Students, in the last few lectures, we have learned how to find out gravitational force, gravitational field, gravitational force due to point masses, gravitational field due to point masses, and as well as extended masses also. And in this video session, we will be learning how to calculate gravitational potential for extended masses. In the last video also we have learned about finding gravitational potential due to point masses, gravitational potential and gravitational potential energy. So in this video session, we will be now learning how to find out gravitational potential due to a ring. So we will be now calculating gravitational potential due to this ring. So for that, let me take, as we are dealing with extended masses, let me take a small unit mass which is located at this position. Say this is unit mass. I am considering this as very small elemental mass. This mass I take it as dm, and this length I'll take it as dx, and radius is a. Okay, now I want to find out gravitational potential at this point P, and remember, gravitational potential is a scalar quantity, therefore we need not go for any resolution of vectors. So at this point P, there will be gravitational potential due to this dm mass. I'll first calculate gravitational potential due to this dm mass at that point P. So for that, I'll just use the relation gravitational potential dV is equal to minus capital G dm divided by separation from this dm element to this point P is under root r square plus a square, where a is radius of the ring, r is the separation from the center of the ring to the point where you are calculating gravitational potential. It is under root a square plus x square, that is dV. Okay, now I want to calculate gravitational potential. So as this is scalar quantity, we are not resolving anything, but whereas in case of electric field and electric force, because it is vector quantity, because of this dm element, there will be one force in one particular direction, field in one particular direction. So you need to resolve them into components, but here it's not necessary. We will be now writing it v is equal to integration dV, this is integration capital G, of course that negative sign comes as it is, dm divided by under root a square plus x square. So we can be written as minus capital G divided by under root a square plus x square integration dm. Now you will take one element here, 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 like that. You can take all these elements and you can add them. If you add these all elements, what do you get? You will be getting total mass of the ring. So integration limits are from 0 to capital M, where capital M is mass of the ring. So V is equal to minus capital G capital M divided by under root a square plus x square. This is equation for gravitational potential due to ring at center of the ring. At center of the ring, x will be equal to 0. Therefore, gravitational potential V will be equal to minus capital G capital M divided by under root a square. X square is however 0, that will be equal to a. Right? So gravitational potential at any point, like at the center of the ring, will be equal to minus capital G capital M by A. As you are moving out from the center of the ring, what would happen? As you are moving out from the center of the ring, as you are moving out from center of the ring, X increases. As X increases, denominator increases. Therefore, potential decreases. Gravitational potential decreases. So therefore, if you plot a graph for this, if you plot graph for gravitational potential with respect to position X, this is V. At the center of the ring, gravitational potential is capital G, capital M. I am just taking magnitude here. Capital G, capital M divided by A. This is one value, right? It is capital G, capital M divided by A. As you are moving out from the center, what is happening? This denominator X goes on increases. Therefore, potential decreases. As a result, you can get graph like this. It goes on decreases, and when X is equal to infinity, something by infinity becomes zero. So gravitational potential at that point will become zero. So gradually, the gravitational potential goes on decreases as you are moving away from the ring. Yeah. Students, now let us calculate gravitational potential due to a hollow sphere, where this is hollow. There is no matter here, and let its mass be capital M, and it can be measured at distance X. You are measuring gravitational potential, and this is outside the sphere. This is outside the sphere, and this is on surface, and this is inside, and this is at the center. So when you are finding gravitational potential due to a hollow sphere, as potential is a scalar quantity, it is that outside the sphere. Let me calculate gravitational potential. Potential outside the sphere. Potential outside the sphere will be minus capital G capital M divided by, where you are calculating gravitational potential outside the sphere, it is at a distance X. So I will be just writing that distance as X. That is gravitational potential outside the sphere. Gravitational potential on surface of sphere is equal to minus capital G capital M divided by, if you are on the surface of the sphere, the separation of the point from the center will become equal to radius of that particular circuit, the radius of that sphere. So I will just substitute that radius here. Radius I can take it as R, where R is equal to radius of hollow sphere. Radius of hollow sphere. Next, potential inside the sphere. Potential inside the sphere will be minus capital G capital M divided by. So as you are moving inside, where is the mass situated? Mass is exactly situated at a position capital R for the whole for the whole. Mass is concentrated on the surface of the sphere. Therefore, when we are calculating gravitational potential inside the sphere, that potential will be because of mass which is on the surface of the sphere. Therefore, if you are calculating gravitational potential here, because of this mass there will be value, and because of this mass there will be a value, because of this mass there will be a value, like that. Because of mass which is on the surface of this sphere, there will be gravitational potential inside. Because it is a scalar quantity, it does not get cancelled. But the thing is, when we are calculating gravitational potential inside the sphere, the gravitational, always remember, in the denominator you will be taking the separation from the center to the point where mass is situated. Wherever you may calculate gravitational potential inside, from the center, where is the mass situated? Mass is situated at the surface, which is at a distance capital R. Therefore, potential inside the sphere will also be equal to minus capital G capital M divided by R, and this is at center also. Potential at center of the sphere is also equal to minus capital G capital M divided by R. So if you plot graph for this, you will be getting graph like this. It is X, and this is potential V. Potential when X is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 in the sense at the center. What is its value? Capital G, capital M. I am just taking the magnitude. I am not taking negative sign over here. Gm divided by R, and up to radius R. If you are from the center, if you are coming to the surface of the sphere, the value of potential will be remained same, because mass and the center position is not changing. It is mass is situated at radius R from the center. Therefore, here it is remained same. Therefore, this value is constant. So potential inside the sphere is constant, and beyond that it is increasing with X. Sorry, it is decreasing with X. As X increases, potential outside the sphere decreases. Therefore, it goes on decreases like this. Finally, it tends to become 0 at some infinite distance. This is constant potential. So remember that gravitational potential due to hollow sphere inside, gravitational potential due to hollow sphere inside it is constant. It is constant, and its value is potential inside is exactly equal to potential on the surface. On the surface, whatever the value of potential we have, inside also you will be having the same gravitational potential due to this hollow sphere. Now let us discuss gravitational potential due to a solid sphere. Of course, this is very, very important concept. So in the previous slide, we have learned gravitational potential due to hollow sphere where inside there is no mass. But now we are dealing with gravitational potential due to a solid sphere where inside there is some mass. I want to now find out gravitational potential inside the sphere, on the surface of the sphere, and outside the sphere. So let me first calculate gravitational potential at this position, which is at a distance x from the center. This is distance x. Okay. So as we are finding gravitational potential outside, this is outside the sphere. As we are calculating gravitational potential outside the sphere, for outside, when you are out from the sphere, it appears to be as a small point. Therefore, you can consider it as point mass, and you can write down gravitational potential outside the sphere by considering this whole sphere as point mass. So gravitational potential outside the sphere is V equal to minus capital G capital M divided by x. As x increases, what happens to potential? Potential decreases, so V is inversely proportional to x. This is outside the sphere. On the surface, if you are calculating gravitational potential on the surface, then in such cases, you can just write it as on surface. You can write it as gravitational potential V is equal to minus capital G, capital M divided by R, where R is equal to radius of the sphere. Where R is equal to radius of the sphere. That is number 2. Now when you are coming inside the sphere, if we are coming inside the sphere, then when we are dealing with inside, understand here carefully. Suppose we are calculating gravitational potential at this position, which is at a distance small r from the center. Now gravitational potential will be because of this orange color mass and as well as violet color mass. So there will be potential due to, like, I can consider this mass as m dash and I can consider this mass as m minus m dash. Therefore, at this position inside the sphere, this point I can consider it as q. At this point q, gravitational potential will be because of this m minus m dash mass and as well as m dash mass, because gravitational potential is a scalar, it does not get cancelled. So potential inside the sphere is equal to potential due to m minus m dash mass plus potential due to m dash mass. So m and m dash mass you can calculate it. So we know that rho is equal to capital M divided by 4 by 3 pi r cube, because it is a sphere. This is equal to m dash divided by 4 by 3 pi into small r cube. From here you can calculate m dash, which is equal to capital M divided by r cube into r cube. From here you will be getting m dash. You can calculate m minus m dash from this and you can substitute that over here and you need to integrate them. So that finally you will be getting gravitational potential. We are not going to derive that because it's a little bit lengthy. Finally, if you calculate that, you will be getting an equation for gravitational potential inside the sphere as minus capital G, capital M by 2r cube into 3r square minus x square. And this x is the position where you are calculating gravitational potential. Okay. So this distance we can take it as x. X is the position where you are calculating gravitational potential. And this is very, very important equation. You need to remember this. Now, you can take x is equal to 0 at the center. At the center of sphere, x is equal to 0. If I take x is equal to 0 in this equation, what do you get? Gravitational potential will be equal to minus capital G, capital M divided by 2r cube into 3r square minus 0. This r square and this r square gets cancelled, which is minus 3 by 2 capital G, capital M divided by r. But what is capital G, capital M divided by r? This is potential on the surface. Therefore, potential at the center is equal to minus 3 by 2 times potential on the surface. This is equation for gravitational potential. So at the center of sphere, its value is minus 3 by 2 times that of the surface. And from the center, if you are coming out, what happens to this x value? X value increases. As x value increases, this total term decreases. And when this goes on decreases, potential due to that sphere also goes on decreases. So from center, if you are calculating gravitational potential, gradually it decreases with x, and at the center it have maximum value. So if you plot graph for this, V gravitational potential, here we are not neglecting this negative sign. That's the reason why you are taking potential negative. In the previous graphs, I have just plotted magnitude. So negative sign I did not consider, and I have plotted the graph in first quadrant. But now here in this graph, I am not neglecting that negative sign. Therefore, you will be getting graph in the fourth quadrant because gravitational potential is taken to be negative in this. Actually, in all graphs, you can take it either with positive magnitude or with negative magnitude. If you are taking gravitational potential with negative magnitude, then you need to write it as you need to plot graph in fourth quadrant. If you are just taking only magnitude without taking that negative sign, then you will be getting graph in the first quadrant. So here potential on the surface is, potential at the center is maximum value. It is 3 by 2 times that of potential on the surface. Gradually it decreases up to the point where it reaches the surface when x is equal to r. So it decreases till x is equal to r, and beyond that also it decreases such that v is inversely proportional to x. And inside the sphere, v is directly proportional to x square, but here v is directly proportional to 1 by x. So that is the reason why slope of decrease in the graph inside and here outside both are not same. Slope is variable. So this is about gravitational potential due to a solid sphere. So as we know that force is equal to mass into acceleration. When you are applying a force on an object, then it will be definitely producing some acceleration. So force is equal to mass into acceleration. Now wherever, if you are on the surface of the earth, because every activity will be done on the surface of the earth, therefore earth is a huge mass and there will be gravitational force upon any other smaller masses on the surface of the earth. You are taking this pen, upon this pen there is a gravitational force. If you leave it, it falls down. It will be pulled towards the center of earth. Not only this pen, any object, if you are leaving at certain height, it will be pulled towards the earth's surface because of gravitational force acting on that surface is greater. Therefore it get more accelerated. So hence the acceleration produced by gravitational force on the surface of earth is said to be acceleration due to gravity. So acceleration produced due to gravitational force on the object by earth's gravitational force is said to be acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity is denoted with the g. It is acceleration due to gravity. And unit of acceleration due to gravity is meter per second square, which is equal to unit of acceleration. This is in SI system, and centimeter per second square in CGS system. So now let me consider a point P whose mass is m on the surface of the earth. Okay. Now upon this mass there is a gravitational force which pulls it in downward direction, right? And because of that it causes some acceleration, that is m, and the acceleration produced on the surface of the earth, I am denoting it with g. Therefore I'll be writing it as mg. Therefore clearly you can write gravitational force is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity. Is it not? You can calculate that. F is equal to ma according to Newton's second law. F is equal to ma. But this acceleration is produced due to gravitational force. That's the reason why you can call it as acceleration due to gravity. Now gravitational force equation is capital G, capital M, small m divided by r square, which is equal to m into acceleration due to gravity. This m and m gets cancelled. So G will be equal to capital G, capital M divided by r square. So usually G is constant. It is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. That is universally constant. And M is mass of the earth. It is nearly 6.0 into 10 power 24 kg. And radius of the earth is 6400 into 10 power 3 meter. If you substitute all the values here in the expression, and if you calculate that, nearly you will be getting G as 9.8 meter per second square. So on surface, this is on surface of the earth. On surface of the earth, its value is 9.8 meter per second square. As you are going to higher altitudes, that means this is on the surface. On the surface, what is the value? 9.8 meter per second square. Because we have got it, G m by r square, G value, m value, r value. If you substitute there, you are getting 9.8 meter per second square. But from the surface of the earth, if you are going to higher altitudes, now you have gone to this height. I consider it as h. This is height h. So if this is height h, you can just write it as capital G, capital M divided by r plus h whole square, since we are calculating acceleration due to gravity at height h from surface of the earth. From the surface of the earth, you are calculating acceleration due to gravity at a height h. So what is happening to this denominator? H value increases. As h value increases, acceleration due to gravity decreases. Therefore, remember, acceleration due to gravity value is not fixed. Only on the surface of the earth, it's nearly 9.8 meter per second square. You can take it as constant. But if you are going to higher altitudes, nearly 100 kilometer, 200 kilometer, 500 kilometer from the surface of the earth, the value of acceleration due to gravity decreases. 9.8, as you are going to higher altitudes, 9.8 will become 9.7, 9.6, 9.5, 9.4, 9.3, and then at certain height it may become 9. So likewise, if you are going deep into the surface of the earth, as the effective mass decreases, its value goes on decreases. 9.8 will become 9.7, 9.6, 9.5, and at the center of the earth it becomes 0. So this is how acceleration due to gravity is variable from position to position. Acceleration due to gravity is variable with respect to mass of the position, mass of the planet, and as well as radius of the planet. So we have got equation for acceleration due to gravity. G is equal to capital G, capital M divided by R plus H whole square if H is not equal to 0. Okay. Now clearly in this equation, small m mass is not present, right? Therefore, acceleration due to gravity is independent of mass of the object. That means if you leave this pen on the surface of the earth, it falls with 9.8 meter per second square. If you leave this mass, which is greater mass, I am leaving this mouse and the pen, both will be pulled down with the same acceleration. This falls with 9.8. This also falls with 9.8 meter per second square. Any object on the surface of the earth, if you leave it, it will be pulled towards the earth and it gain an acceleration of 9.8 meter per second square irrespective of mass of the object. So G is independent of mass of the object, and acceleration due to gravity depends on mass of the planet it depends on mass of the planet. So as mass of the planet, if you take mass of the earth and mass of Jupiter, they are not same. Mass of moon, mass of earth is not same. Therefore, if you leave an object on the surface of the Jupiter, it falls with an acceleration which is greater than 9.8 meter per second square, because mass of the Jupiter is greater than mass of the earth. So it may fall with a value of 10 meter per second square or 15 meter per second square. That depends on mass of the Jupiter. Likewise, if you are taking a mass and place it on the moon, and if you leave it from certain height on surface of the moon, towards moon it will be pulled with an acceleration less than 9.8 meter per second square, because mass of the moon is less than mass of the earth. Therefore, acceleration due to gravity on moon is less than acceleration due to gravity on earth, because mass of moon is equal to 1/6 times mass of earth. Mass of the moon is 6 times less than mass of the earth. That is the reason why acceleration due to gravity on moon is 6 times less than acceleration due to gravity on the earth. So acceleration due to gravity on moon is nearly equal to 1.67 meter per second square. This is the value of acceleration due to gravity on moon. Likewise, acceleration due to gravity on sun is 3 times greater than acceleration due to gravity on earth. So acceleration due to gravity on sun is nearly equal to 27 meter per second square. Okay, next. Acceleration due to gravity depends on radius of planet and position of object from where it is left. So G is inversely proportional to R plus H whole square. So as H is equal to 0, obviously G only depends upon planet. If H is not equal to 0, that means you are taking this object to a height which is very large value, which is comparable with radius of the earth. Then in such cases, acceleration due to gravity decreases. So G decreases with altitude. So remember that usually on surface of earth, height to which you are taking the object is less than radius of the earth. The height which you are considering on the surface of the earth is less than radius of the earth, because radius of the earth is 6,400 kilometer. Maximum, if you are going to a height, you are taking a planet, you are taking an object, and maximum you can go to a height of 100 kilometer, 200 kilometer, 500 kilometer, not more than that, right? So if you are taking acceleration due to gravity at a distance of 500 kilometer, H value you will put it as 500. But if you are taking mass to a height of just 1 kilometer from the surface of the earth, 1 is very less comparable with 6,400 kilometer. That is the reason why H value we can neglect it, and on the surface of the earth, G on earth is nearly equal to 9.8 meter per second square. This is treated to be constant, where h is less than radius of the earth. If h value is very much less than radius of the earth, then you can take G as 9.8 meter per second square. Rounding this off, 9.8 can be usually taken it as 10 meter per second square. So in the previous chapters, wherever we have got acceleration due to gravity, in most of the problems, for simplicity, I always took G as 10 meter per second square, right? So this is how acceleration due to gravity depends on, and the variation of acceleration due to gravity due to different factors. So tomorrow we will continue with, like in the next lecture, we will be continuing with acceleration due to gravity and its variations upon different factors.